Hello, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about the metformin for mitochondrial NADH oxidation, prevention and anti-aging effect, and how the NADH will sustain and increase due to the metformin rather than the decrease of the NADH, because the NADH will decrease with the passage of time with the age. So the metformin is naturally occurring compound, which that when you will intake the tablet, that metformin, which that will enter into the cell, and when enter into the cell, it will target to the mitochondria. So this is the double membrane organelle in the cell, which that is known as the mitochondria. It is known as the powerhouse of the cell, and it is responsible for the production of ATP. This is the inner mitochondrial matrix and membrane, while the inner mitochondrial matrix and outer mitochondrial membrane and the outer mitochondrial matrix. It means that it is double membrane organelle. Inner mitochondrial matrix required for the Krebs cycle to produce more FADH2 and NADH, while the inner mitochondrial membrane is used for the electron transport chain. Anyhow, let's understand about the further going on, and we will focus on the electron transport chain to understand the metformin action for the inhibition of the electron transport chain for increasing the NADH. The NADH is a vital compound naturally occurring in our body for the oxidation reduction reaction and to provide the electron for the electron transport chain to produce the massive amount of the ATP. And this pyruvate, when enter into the inner mitochondrial matrix to the tricarboxylic acid cycle or Krebs cycle, will trigger due to the acetyl CoA. So here is the intermembrane space and the mitochondrial matrix, inner and outer mitochondrial matrix. This is the protein complexes 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, ATP synthase 5. It is important for the electron transport chain. This is the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, the glucose will convert into the 2-pyruvate is known as the glycolysis, and anaerobic respiration will lead to produce NADH and ATP will increase in the cytoplasmic ATP and NADH. This is the important things without using of the oxygen. So oxygen will not use to produce ATP and NADH. And in this way, this is the less NADH and ATP, but this is the cytoplasmic ATP and NADH will increase, while when this NADH will enter into the mitochondria, so it can be entered, and in this way it will also produce the ATP by a different mechanism we will also understand. This is the NADH and will convert into the NAD plus, but the metformin will inhibit it. So this is the NADH, basically the complex one, which that required the NAD plus oxyreductase enzyme, and a lot of this is the enzymatic protein. The NADH will convert into the NAD plus. It means the proton will donate, proton will move out while the electron will accept to trigger the electron transport chain. But the metformin will trigger the NADH boost increase while the inhibit the NAD plus, and the tricarboxylic acid cycle flux will decrease. And in this way, the TCA cycle, the Krebs cycle will inhibit through metformin. In this way, you can see this is the G3P. Glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate will convert into the DHAP via a using of the FAD plus to the FADH2. It is reduced. And in this way, this will lead to DHAP, dihydroxyacetone phosphate, will convert into the G3P by the using of the NADH. In this way, the metformin will inhibit. This is the MGDP, is the enzyme is used for the conversion of FAD plus into the FADH2 by the using of the G3P into the DHAP. G3P is using. While on the other hand, here is the FADH2. The complex 2 is used FADH2 via Krebs cycle to produce FAD plus. And in this way, here is the DHAP will also donate the electron for the further electron transport chain, and in this way the electron will flow through the quinine and ubiquinine, and in this way the complex 3 will accept this electron to pump out the proton from the inner mitochondrial matrix to the outer mitochondrial matrix. Cytochrome C is a protein mobile and will again separate the two electron by the decrease of the energy of the electron, and half molecule of oxygen and two proton and two electron will use to produce water, and this activity will inhibit through a metformin. And what is the benefit we will understand. This is a proton. Outer mitochondrial matrix contain more proton, it means more acidic will enter through ATP synthase enzyme to ADP to convert ATP is decreased due to the metformin because the electron transport chain will not occur because the several target of the metformin. So the ATP synthesis will decrease. In this way, the AMPK signaling will increase, cyclic AMP, protein kinase A signaling, and gluconeogenesis. So the gluconeogenesis will decrease while the glycolysis will increase, will lead to produce more ATP, and this pyruvate will basically remain free. And in this way, the gluconeogenesis decrease while the cyclic AMP and protein kinase A signaling will decrease, but the AMPK signaling will increase while the damaged mitochondrial oxidative stress will be decreased. So the mitochondrial stress will decrease because the mitochondria will not use for the production of ATP. Remember, in this way the mitochondria will go in the rest phase and the NADH will be increased. The repair of mitochondria prevent to damage, energy homeostasis and repair will occur, and NADH rise to work for other processes like the DNA repair, and the NADH also used for the ATP synthesis and other things like, but remember that it is also oxidation reduction reaction to reactive oxygen species down regulation. So the reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species will down regulate. In this way the oxidative stress will be decreased. In this way, here is the NADH will cytoplasmic NADH will enter into the outer mitochondrial matrix from the outer mitochondrial membrane. This NADH, basically NADH oxidation will decrease, electron transport chain activity decrease, mitochondrial ATP synthesis will be decreased. So what is the benefit? It means the decrease of the all things will lead repair of the genes, repair of the DNA, and repair of the cell due to the NADH boost, because it is the NADH boosting mechanism. This is the G couple protein receptor. Let's understand about the AMPK signaling increase while the cyclic AMP and protein kinase as A signaling will down regulate. In this, the glucagon, for example, bind the cyclases will lead to produce ATP into cyclic AMP, and this will convert into the AMPK pathway. So the AMPK, the AMP2 kinase enzyme used to AMPK pathway. So this basically due to the PDE4B is a protein will convert the cyclic AMP into the non-cyclic AMP to AMPK pathway, and in this way the basically is the repair and the trimeric subunit of the protein, which that is intracellular domain of the G couple protein receptor will recover, and the metformin will trigger the AMPK pathway, and the metformin will trigger, but the protein kinase A will not trigger, will not increase because metformin will not target it, and in this the metformin will inhibit it ultimately, and downstream signaling of the protein kinase A, the transcription factor to produce cell survive and aging, but in this way it will inhibit and decrease will lead to anti-aging because the gene for the cancer oncogene will suppress due to the AMPK pathway will increase will lead to inhibit these all genes and the 991 gene activation. So in this way remember that things, the AMPK signaling will increase will lead to repair and the oncogene suppression. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video for this. Bye.